the rose-colored glasses finally comes off. You don't feel the same. Ladies, he doesn't seem as tall, doesn't seem as strong, he looks smaller, doesn't seem as attractive. Ladies, that's what it is. Fellas, she doesn't seem as radiant, doesn't seem as beautiful, not as attractive. She doesn't look like nothing to you now. Now you're looking at this individual with disgust. You're at the point of the breakup where you're like, what did I ever see in this person? What did I ever, that's where you at in the breakup. Because the rose-colored glasses is gone. What if I told you that wasn't the end though? I mean, your feelings about them are gone. You don't care if they date other people. You don't miss them being in a relationship with no more. But what if I only told you that you was only 95% of the way? And some people be stuck at that 95%. You can make it to where it's 100. You're in the driveway, you're in your yard, you're at the place where you belong, but you have not walked in the house. You're no longer standing in that spot in the sand, but there's still a little footprint there. There's still a little increments where the water gotta wash that last part away. This is the last part of the breakup. The last part of the breakup is the identity. And it's gonna make sense to you once I get it out. The identity part is when you stop identifying them as your ex. I'm gonna break it down to you. The reason why you looking at them with disgust, not that you don't miss them no more. The love is gone, you don't feel it, and now, you know, you started from a time where you were stalking the breakup was fresh. You were stalking their Facebooks, you were stalking their Instagrams, you were stalking all of their pages, you was contacting their loved ones or their friends, you was breaking no contact, sending text message terrorism, you was blowing them up, sending these long paragraphs. You remember that? You remember a time where you cried, you went to the club, you got drunk? You remember those times? You remember those times where you didn't eat, you lost sleep, you was grieving the death of your breakup, you was in your rehab. If anybody know about rehab, you can associate breakups with rehab. The brain kind of does the same thing. You're going through the love withdrawals. Now you're at the end of your withdrawals. And now you see how far you've come. Because this person's presence, although you don't feel it no more, it's kind of like a, ugh. That is the 5% you have left. You can get to a point to where that person, this is when you know it's 100%. It's 100% when you're at a point that their presence doesn't disgust or excite you. It's like, oh, that's how you know the old you is completely gone that identifies with that person. That's when the butterfly officially leaves the cocoon. The butterfly that leaves the cocoon does not take the cocoon everywhere with it. It leaves the cocoon behind. And that's what happens. The new you has officially been born. That 5% you have left is the umbilical cord. You're out of the body, you're out of the womb, but now it's time to cut the umbilical cord, that final attachment, because even that disgust is an attachment. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you talk about this individual, you say things like my ex, my ex-wife, my ex-husband, my ex-girlfriend, my ex-boyfriend, my ex-friend. When you use the word my, that's still a possession, and a possession is still somewhat of an attachment. Start slowly saying that. Just call them by their name, the individual. Truly, like, cut the last part. Don't identify them as your nothing. This is a person that you once dealt with. I mean, I'm not saying be disingenuous about it. If somebody said, hey, your ex, you'll say, hold on, don't call them my ex. No, this is your ex. But when you talk about them, call them by their name, who they are. Because everybody's ever changing. There's a new them that's being born every day. We learn things, we get introduced to stuff. We're constantly getting shaped. So the new you don't even identify with the new them. So call that person by that person. Because even a person that you dated no longer exists. Even though they may still have the same characteristics, behavior, that person no longer exists. You was once 6. You're still here physically, but that 6-year-old you doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. We're constantly transforming. In the midst of this, that's the last umbilical cord. And the way you do that is you just cut the identity. Like the baby, you was once in the womb of the mother, but now you're not the womb, you're not the egg, you're not the sperm, you are a baby. This is what you are right now. You don't identify as a sperm or egg or anything once you step into the earth realm. Once you step here, you are a person. You're an infant. And this infant got to grow into a child, teenager, adult, so on and so forth. The last part of the breakup is the identity. And then that's when you can run across them and look at them and don't feel nothing. You're not excited to see them, or you're not disgusted to see them either. That feeling is no longer there. There's nothing. Some of us never reach that point because we're still holding on. But once you make it to this stage, you've let most of everything go. But that disgust is towards him and yourself. That disgust towards him is what he's done or what she done. But that disgust to yourself is that you allowed it. The last part of that is literally forgiving yourself. That's the last part. The last part is literally forgiving yourself and moving on. I didn't know better. Or rather, you did know better. But I'm in a state now where I can make better choices. I'm not a slave to my flesh and all these different things. And then once you do that, when this person look up, you'll know when it's done. Sometimes when you cook a steak, you want to make sure all the pink is gone. And sometimes it looks done, but you want to kind of sit in there a little bit longer. You want to put it out just a little bit longer. So when you going through a breakup and you forgive yourself, forgive that person, because that's literally a requirement in order to let them go, because you cannot move on if you don't let them go. And if you're holding on to a grudge against them, then you're holding on to them. And guess what? The new person you get with, whoever you deal with, they're going to have to pick up what the last person left off. So going forward, you want to get rid of the identity. So the next time you see them, and you will know it's 100%, is when you finally look at them and you feel nothing. No excitement, no disappointments, no resentment, nothing. Hey, how you doing? You recognize them, but nothing's there. Everything's home. Everything's gone. They're not home. If we live together and I'm packing up my things, guess what happens? If I take everything with me, but I leave a brush or I leave some shoes, there's a part of me still in that home. Get rid of everything out the home. And now it's your home, it's your essence. This is all of you now. Last part of the breakup is the identity. And once that identity, the person that identified that individual and yourself with resentment, once the identity's gone, you no longer identify with the cocoon. You have officially become the butterfly. The footprints on the sand has literally washed away like it was never there to begin with. Continue to embrace greatness and walk in positivity.